What do you got? What are you planning to cook?
Always works.
Oh, we go. That's the platinum. There it is, Brainiac. It's fucking gore. Oh man, I gotta stop swearing for that because this is gonna go on YouTube. I need to stop swearing on my YouTube videos. Okay, so obviously that was Psychonauts 1's platinum. This game, guys, was incredible. It's like nothing I've ever played before, and very unique. I don't have many words to describe it, but it would obviously be like, I don't even know. It would be like some like deep movie lore type, describing video type shit if I could talk about it. But this game was so good. The reason I did play it and why I platinum it is because I lost a bet with one of my viewers, Madden, where he 100%ed Final Fantasy X before I did, because I didn't do it properly, so I took the L there. So I'm doing 1 and 2 currently. Now, I'd just like to quickly say how good this game actually is I was supposed to make a video and it was going to combine 1 and 2. This game is so good that I was sitting there going through my recordings and I was like, I can't make just 1 video on this game. It's got to be 2. And it's honest, like dead serious. It's just that good. And I recommend it to anyone really at this point. The Platinum Trophy, we'll talk a bit more about that later on. But overall, it's quite a very good Platinum. So this one was a 3 out of 10, 1 playthrough in 20 hours. Now, there are some misspells in this, and I will go over those, and they can ruin the entire game. And there's some ones, if you're not concentrating, you can do it. There's a lot of manual saves you got to do, but yeah, it's, a bit iffy. The entire game, I only had 1 crash so far in the entire game. The port's been very good. I've heard some bad stuff about the port, but it was very good. And thank the Lord, even though it's a PS2 port, they implemented autosave into the game. I nearly cried because I didn't save for 6 hours because I was just grinding, and it crashed on me, and I thought it was all over, and it was the worst feeling ever. But thankfully, they have autosaves in it. But yeah, we'll get into it and go over the trophy list real quick. So obviously, yeah, the trophy list has quite a few trophies, not too many, like 38. It's a fair amount for probably a PS2 port, really, overall. Obviously, you've got your standard story stuff where you go over the story missions, but there's also some achieve rank ones, some missables, and from there and there. And it's just like some funny stuff. Like none of the trophies really felt grindy, except for 1 collectible. The rest of the game felt good, including the trophies itself. So obviously, I just quickly like to go over like the leveling as well. Itself was just absolutely fantastic. The levels were just insane, is what I mean by that. It's just the variety of them, the ways in which every level needed abilities, had secret areas, had secret things in them, had hidden jokes, had dialogue. And even when you went back into the world, there were things like, obviously people were still joking, and like things would change, obviously, and which is not a very common thing, obviously, back in the PS2 era. But it's like, it was done, which is really impressive about this game. I really am surprised not as many people have played this as I thought, but obviously it's a very like underground type game. But yeah, it was not too grindy or anything, but we got there in the end. So the story itself is actually is quite your standard chosen one type arc level of game. Like it's very typical of the era itself, and I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. Not always, but I guess sometimes. But obviously, who plays Rasputin, basically, or Raz as they call him in the game, he's the main character of the game. And basically, he's ran away from the circus in which he is, which is where his family works, basically, and goes to a circus. Now, we find out that his family do hate circus, and that's why he did run away. And basically, his main goal is to go into this camp and to become a psychonaut before his father figures it out and comes and gets him, which is obviously like he's very pushy to a lot of the teachers about wanting to learn and do more and more. So obviously from this, a lot of the teachers at the camp, the psychonaut camp that we are going to, obviously, where it's basically a camp full of psychic children who are learning to become psychonauts. Now, we learn that this isn't a normal camp, and then obviously it's very dangerous and people have died and stuff like that. But it's hilarious in ways in which they describe it. The characters are very inventive and different, and it's good. Like it feels very refreshing. There's no like there's obviously your typical characters and stuff like that, your bullies and your jerks, and like the crazy hypo people, stuff like that. Like your typical type of of people in this game, obviously. Pop on that. Oh, there's no fall damage either. Wow.
I'm telling you for the last time, no. I would never do that. I could never kill everyone. Oh, hi, Raz.
Squirrel trouble?
They're liars is all. Whatever they tell you, it's a lie.
I'll take your word for it. You going to class?
Yeah, I'll meet you up there. As soon as I get these guys to shut up.
What the fuck, dude? Did he just eat them? With the coach's area to start off, which is the first area you go to. So the way in which we enter is we open a door, or like obviously a mental door, into the mind of someone else, and that's how we enter the worlds in this game. So with this one, we start off with coaches, and obviously he's been through the war and stuff, so a lot of he's escaped around that. The basic training, so training to be a soldier, basically teaching us how to do the collectibles, how to play the game, how to do certain mechanics and stuff like that. This first level was very basic, but it's not what I expected straight off the bat, honestly. Like, it was very impressive looking and stuff like that, and some of the collectibles weren't too hard or anything. The level was a little bit difficult to like adjust to, because obviously I'm not quite used to it. I'm not very good at platformers, guys. I'm going to be completely honest right now. I'm terrible with them. I tried really hard. I'm terrible with them. So this was difficult. This is a difficult game for me. Like, I ain't gonna lie right now. Like, I'm not very good at stuff like this, so it's definitely one of my Pyschonauts. I'm pretty bad at all games. I'm gonna be real as well. Like, but anyway, we went through it. We got through it all. We helped some of the other campers and stuff like that. Found shortcuts. Were helped out, and then got to the very end, and obviously approached Coach. Now, after the fact, obviously, of that happening, we were then intrigued by Sasha, in which he extended a hand to teach us something. Now, Sasha 9 is a very intriguing character. And he wanted to learn more about Rasputin, and obviously study him is the main way to do it. So we go to his lab, where we find that he's been torturing a kid, which is quite interesting, to say the least. And then we obviously get him down there, and he wants obviously us to enter his mind, basically, to learn some new abilities, in which we end up kind of overdoing it and overdriving his mind and him going crazy, and a lot of the enemies tend to just attack us because obviously we're not supposed to be in the mind at the time, and his defense is wanting to push us out. The level is very, very crazy. Like, the way the cube rolls and how you just walk over the edges is just insane. I've never really seen anything like it before. It was very impressive, honestly. Another level that just kind of shocked me, and I was just like impressed like straight away. Like, just a game at this generation to be like, this is crazy. But just your standard, went through the level, did what we needed to do, collectibles, and then obviously attacked the boss, beat the boss. Now, the main core of this game, obviously, and then what I thought would happen is we entered the brain tumbler in Sasha 9's lab, and basically the whole point is then for us to go through our own mind and then figure out what's going on, basically to strengthen and learn new things. Now, we hit roadblocks in our own mind, obviously, because of our fears and our beliefs and stuff like that, so we get stuck at times and have to keep pushing through. Now, the first one, obviously, we go into Sasha 9's mind to learn how to shoot, and then basically after that we then have to enter Miller's to then learn how to do the gravity ball to be able to do higher jumps and stuff like that. We obviously learn and meet the new antagonist here, where we find out that he's stealing children's brains. Now, I don't quite understand still, and then if someone wants to explain to me, obviously, I don't know how Rasputin knew that, but it was in his own mind, so I don't know whether he can just predict it or feel it or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but for some reason he just figured it out before anyone else, and no one really believed him or wanted to give him the time of day to obviously learn that. So we got stuck with it, and basically at the end of it all, we basically ended up hitting the brunt of it all and putting it all on our back. And now, Miller's dance party was very interesting. this is the bane of my existence, doing stuff like this. I'm not good with vehicles and doing stuff like this with a lot of like parkour and stuff, and doing this with the gravity ball, though it did teach me how to use it properly, eventually I learned how to use them properly, it was still very difficult at times. The world was still very interesting and very intriguing and very different to any of the other levels beforehand and even after, again, which is the main part of this game. Like, I feel like the developers really cherished this and wanted to push the boundaries of what they could really do in this game, and this, again, just shows another level of that. But basically, we got through that, learnt the gravity ball, and then head to the party. Now, obviously, Lily, one of the main characters of the game, self-proclaimed girlfriend. This was hilarious parts of the game. It's just how these interactions happened. This was just weird and like so out of the blue and out of nowhere. The humor in this game is just elite. It's dark and very dry at times, and that's what I think's funny because I've got a terrible sense of humor. But anyway, she gets kidnapped by a lungfish, and basically we have to then face our fears, go under the water, and save Lily from the lungfish. And obviously it's just basically a giant boss battle by then. We go down there, take on the lungfish. Ford then pushes onto us and then says, basically, you know, he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, you should actually feel sorry for him. You should really, you know, check him out. So obviously we go into his mind and figure out what's bothering him and try to save him. So we go into this. This level was so cool, bro. How you were giant in this massive city. This was not what I expected. This threw me way off. I was like, at this point, I was like, this game is amazing. Because I was like, there's no fucking way. And people were watching and were like, this is crazy, dude. This is so cool. And like, some of the jokes in this level were insane. Chat were having a great time. This was hilarious, and I was having a great time. This was probably one of the more fun levels in the game. Probably one of the best ones, I think. Maybe the next one after this would be my favorite. I'm not quite sure. But the boss battle was good. Like all the collectibles and stuff, your basic stuff. Well, not really a basic go through too, but it was like they combined games like where you were a giant into this game. Like I feel like if I played Incredible Hulk, there would be pretty similar objectives to then being a giant in this world, basically, and then going through it and basically like going through that and then take on the boss finally, which again was very interesting. But basically we go through it, save the lungfish. He then is happy to then take us where he needs to go, finds out where the other children are being taken, including Lily, and we find out it's gone to the asylum, which is in the middle of the lake, of course, near the camp. What are the chances? Am I right? And then you then meet the character at the front gate, who we find out is the guard, and obviously he's gone insane, and we can't talk to him or discuss anything with him, so what do we... This is the most interesting level. This probably is my favorite level, I'm not sure. This was very intriguing. This really did feel like a completely different game this time. The level of, like, on-edge feeling, I didn't feel comfortable playing this game. I don't know what it was about it. It didn't feel right. It felt weird. It felt like nearly like a thriller or a horror or something like that. It was strange. It's called the Milkman Conspiracy to start off. I don't know. The enemies were hilarious. The dialogue was hilarious. But everything, I just always felt really on edge. And, like, it was very horror-esque. And there's a lot of, like, things in it that would just... This game gets darker and darker as the game goes along. But this was the darkest one for sure. There's a lot of things on the internet when I did see after I finished the game. I've gone through it. A lot of people think this is the best level, but there's also a lot of conspiracy theories about the games and about this level, and like goes through it all, and it's incredible. Just this one level affects the community so much, and honestly I can't blame them for saying it's the best. Basically we went through, tried to figure out the conspiracy. Where is the milkman? We had to take on different jobs, break into houses, trick a lot of the enemies, and then obviously learn invisibility as well, which is one of the more annoying things in the game to do, and I'll get onto that later. Go through it all, take on all the enemies, and then find out where the milkman is, and we find out the milkman is the security guard. What are the chances, you know? So then obviously we save him, beat the boss. He then terrorizes his own mind. I don't know why, but anyway, he just terrorizes it. We hop out. He's semi okay, I guess. He then breaks down the gate and then is going to try and burn down the asylum. So yeah, we then obviously have to go through with Gloria's theater, who we find in the garden. She's an actor, and she's acting in front of these people like she's basically just lost her mind. So we go into her mind, of course. Again, what are the chances? Go in there, find out it's like some theater. and we try to figure out what's wrong with her, why she's upset, why she won't do the play, and we find out about a lot of the problems. And this next level, of course, is the Waterloo world with the Fred Bonaparte, self-proclaimed, of course. This level, actually, like going over this now, I actually have to admit this is probably the best level in the game. This was very interesting again. This really shook things up. This is a very, very different game again. Different world again. This game is just honestly incredible. Like, it felt like a different game at times, and it was very impressive. I am so excited to play the second one. But anyway, basically we find out that he's in an endless battle with his rival, and they're trying to figure out how to obviously how to beat him, basically. And we basically help him out to figure out how to win his war, basically, on the board, sorry. And we go through that level, trying to convince a lot of the residents to help out Fred, and then beat the boss finally. This was a little frustrating, this area. This took a while to figure out, but overall it was very impressive. I think the difficulty definitely went up a little bit in this area, though, in my opinion. And at times could be a little frustrating, but overall the level was so enjoyable. I didn't really have an issue with it at all, really. But yeah. So the final mine that we do save is in the level is called Black Velvetopia, and it's Edgar is who we're going to save here, a painter who lost their mistress, and we're trying to figure out why. Basically, he's gone insane. Obviously, we're going to go in the brain, save it. This level was, again, insane. This was ridiculous. This is, again, a whole nother level of this is just crazy. Yeah, it was just crazy. Like, and I actually, like, thought this level shouldn't be too bad. This was really hard. This took a lot of figuring out to do and when to do it. And I had to get all the collectibles while I was doing it because at this point I was already doing most of them. And it took me, I think, 4 hours to do this level. Probably shouldn't have, but it did. This level took a lot of getting used to, a lot of thinking, and a lot of prepping to get a lot of it done properly. And there were stages, if I went too far, the game was over, and I would just fail. And I'd have to restart the game. So I was not really looking forward to that, and I was very scared and very on edge. So I was very slow through this, but we got there in the end. The final boss battle was a little bit unique, and not that great. I found it a little weird. Took a little to figure out, basically just throw darts at them. The boss battle was probably my least favorite in the entire game, in my opinion, not gonna lie. But we got there in the end. So the next one is the Asylum, is this one after this. So obviously we trick the guard into thinking that we are the doctor, go up top, and then go for the Asylum. This level, again, getting collectibles, okay. This sucked. This actually sucked. This was really painful. This was really annoying. I kept falling at the end of this level over and over again. Skill issue, I know, but it was rough at times and really, really fucking annoying. I'm not gonna lie. But we got there in the end. We basically got to the top of the level and found out where the doctor finally was. Now, we were obviously warned most of this by Shiga, who is the assistant of the doctor that's at the top, and obviously we got there in the end and figured it out. Now, Dr. Loboto is this final one here. So obviously, he finds us, we save him. Mr. Pokelope is who we save, the turtle. Change Shiga's mind. They then form a plan, trick him, and then he falls down and dies, which is very anticlimactic. Again, not what I was expecting at all. Not what I was expecting at all, really. Like, the main antagonist of the story, I was like, here we go, there's gonna be a massive battle, and then it didn't happen, and I was like, what just happened? Like,
What a weird boss battle.
this is not what I was expecting. Yeah, I don't know, like, really. This just threw me off. It's just like, yeah, completely stuffed me up here. But we obviously, after that, of course, it wasn't the final boss. We find out Coach, or Oleander, is actually the final battle, which is not what I expected at all. I'm going to be honest. I thought we were going to beat him a bit earlier, but anyway, he was the final antagonist of the game. We beat him. This was a little bit of a slow process battle, but we got there in the end. And then we then combined brains, because we sneezed. Obviously, the powder that we lose brains. Sneeze, brain went into the same tank that Oleander's was in, and our brains combined, creating the magic level of Meat Circus. Now, I know this is the final level. Again, I got really frustrated at this level, not because it's a bad game or anything, like bad level or anything like that, but more the fact that I just had to get all the collectibles or the game was over. And I was stressing because I was worried I missed something in the game, so I was getting frustrated easy. This was a very impressive level. I could go over it for hours because it's very in-depth, obviously, like how much is going on in this level. The first part's obviously saving Child Oleander is quite frustrating. We then save him, go into the next part, and then we find out about his dad, who we then have to battle. Then our dad, a projection of our dad as well, also comes in, and he's trying to kill us. This was really annoying. This took me way too many tries. This was really frustrating. The game just didn't want to do what I wanted to do sometimes, and the timing was a little bit off. Probably my fault again, I'm not sure. Got there in the end, beat him, and then our real dad comes through to save the day when we fight both the dads again. And he's like, wow, that's what you think of me, really. He said the dads combine after going into the grinder.
Sometimes it depends.
Yeah. And
Like,
then
it depends.
we become giant and we are big. We take on the final boss, beat the boss, and bang. We get that and pop the platinum pretty much at the end of it. And yeah, that's basically Psychonauts' story. This was, again, a cluttered mess. I apologize, probably didn't explain it very well, but it was tough. I don't want to go into depth because I feel like I could be for hours talking about this game. I don't want to put you guys through that, and it's not what you're here for. Now, I would quickly like to talk about the missables that were in these for just the most annoying things ever. So we have a few. So I think overall, there's 5. I'm pretty sure. I think there's Made Man, which is the main one. A lot of people miss. It's very early on though, so it's not too bad. But basically, there's certain times of it because the children lose their brains early. A lot of the dialogue that you can have with them can disappear very fast, and you have to time it as well because the game progresses very quickly with that if you're not careful, and it's kind of disappointing because I would have liked to spend more time with the characters, but anyway. So Made Man, which is Witness Maloof's transformation, is when he's saved from the bully. This one I was very careful of. I kept the guide up for these few just to make sure. There was no spoilers or anything like that, which is good. And then Wolfpaw was the next one, says thanks. You sit there and listen to his very, very long story. I sat there and listened to it. Dude, this was rough. This was rough. Like, I was like, this is actually taking forever. And I was like, man, they really wanted to, like, make me suffer here, like, sit here. And, like, it's, again, crazy that they just had the depth for this, like, to put this in. And then after that, we have Spy on Bobby's Love Life, which is just, like, a love interaction between 3 characters in the game. Nothing too intense. It was just a random dialogue that the game didn't want us to miss, obviously. Now, another one is Holiday Dinner, which is not too bad of a one. It's really, it's not really a missable. You just like basically cook and consume 2 different kinds of roast. You basically just kill a squirrel and a bird and then eat the food pretty much. It's very interesting, but anyway. And be alert for the final bit is, oh, actually, I'll go over the other one really quick. I actually forgot about that. So basically, there's a Christmas one. This one was a little bit stressful. I couldn't get it to work properly for a bit, but basically, there's a Christmas one where you have to buy an item on Christmas Day. That's awesome. That's a sick trophy. Obviously, you just cheese it. You change the date. Now, I changed the date. I think I tried this 3 times off stream, because obviously, I don't really want to change the date off stream. Just if something weird happens. But changed the date. Didn't work a few times. I then, for the first 2 times, I actually thought that an item would pop up on Christmas Day, and I'd buy that special item. I was like, this is going to be awesome. This is like a special Christmas item. This is so depth. And then, yeah, you just need to buy an item on Christmas Day, pretty much. And I was like, by the 3rd time, it still didn't work. So the 4th go, I randomly did it, and I got it to work. I'm not quite sure what I did different, but this is maybe a little bit of a glitchy trophy. I'm not quite sure. I could be just dumb. I don't know. One of those 2. Now, the final missable one that I want to talk about are the golden helmets. Now, this is very annoying. There is one of these that's missable in the entire game, and it's very frustrating. There's one. It's at the end of the game. Like, literally, it's at Black Velvetopia, one of the last levels in the game, and it is missable. If you talk too much, or you do too much dialogue, or continue the story by accident, and there was times where I was very close to, you miss this. And a lot of people miss it. Got to redo the entire game if you haven't saved properly, because this game does autosave quite a lot, but this really threw me off, and that's why I was very nervous all through Velvetopia. This was very annoying. These golden helmets were not hard to find when I was going through the other levels, but this one actually was annoying to get, not gonna lie. But basically you needed to confuse the bull running around so the painter could go across and paint on the wall. That was the main part of it. But yeah, this was rough, and this scared me most of the game, I'm not going to lie. So, yeah. Now, I just want to talk through all of the collectibles in the game. Now, this was just all combining. So basically, you level by getting all the collectibles in the game, and that's pretty much how the game goes. This was very interesting, because everything's worth something, you know. And the whole point, you need to be 101. That's to collect every item in the game. This sucked. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the collectibles were really cool. You had the baggage, which were hilarious at times, and the music was just stuck in my head for days on end. You had the brains to rebrain all the children, and you needed those basically to then... you then needed them to obviously talk to after the game to unlock some types of trophies. And then there was the target minigame in the coach's training, which a lot of people hated. It wasn't that hard, but to get some of the collectibles out of it, there was just like certain things. And then the vaults as well, which obviously they just showed little side stories that had happened in people's minds. Look, this wasn't like the hardest thing in the world. It really wasn't. There was a few of them. The psi cards and stuff like that weren't too bad. Now, if anything in this game is perfect. This game's perfect. I actually would give it nearly a 9 out of 10. Nearly. The worst thing in this game, by a mile, are the figments. This collectible sucks. This is one of the worst things I've ever done. Because the game is so old, the figments won't appear. Obviously, unless you're within a certain distance. They then fade and then unfade. So they blink. And they are weird colors. So if the color is into the background, is close enough to a background, and then fades on top of it, you cannot see it. It's impossible to see it. You won't see it. And then if you're far enough away. So you need to scour every millimeter of this map to make sure that you got them all. Now, I was able to do a lot of these. I really was. It was really hard. The two hardest levels in the game by a country mile was Miller's Dance Party, because you had to do the obstacle course and then do the entire level with the 3 sections. That sucked. It took me way too long. I think it took me like 2 to 3 hours. I'm ranting here. I don't care. This was close to breaking me. Just this collectible. This was very frustrating. The other one was the Waterloo map. That map was very glitchy and very hard to obtain all of them. Now, obviously, I used a guide for ones I couldn't find. The ones I couldn't find, the guides are so outdated, it's not even funny. They are so outdated. Like, I reckon someone did it in like 2006 or something, because it's ridiculous. Like, some of them are like, someone needs to make a guide. I don't want to do it, but this is ridiculous. And there's obviously there's like a 10-hour long YouTube video on Pyschonauts 1's collectibles. So I was scouring through some of them to find them, because I had to watch a 10-hour video, and I'd be sitting there watch this guy do this entire level that I've already done, sitting there watching him. And I'm telling you right now, half the time you would not find the figments, even when they were there on the video, and you would not be able to see them. I was standing right in front of some of them, and you cannot see them because of the colors. Very frustrating. I pray to God that in the second Pyschonauts, we don't have to deal with this. I pray it's not as hard, because this is ridiculous. Like, this alone, this figment thing, for how old the guides are, and how hard the figments are to find, game should instantly go up from a 3 to at least a 5 in difficulty, because these were just dumb as fuck. These were just the dumbest things I've ever done. Like, these are just where I'm frustrated. I'm sorry, but like this nearly ruined the game. This is nearly a perfect game, and that might have actually done it for me. But I don't even know, even if I wasn't platinuming this game, I probably would have tried to do all the figments anyway. So I would have suffered either way, but this was, yeah, the figments ruined it. And I had to go back through all the levels. Now, I didn't do this on stream, and thank God I didn't. It would have been the most boring content ever, because it was just me running around on a map doing absolutely nothing. My chat love when I grind, 100%. This was the boringest grind of all time. This was ridiculous. Like, yeah, no. Now, there was one missable I didn't actually go over, which was introduce all the camp kids to Misty Pokelopes. This is hilarious. Very easy trophy, though, because to finish the game, you need to give Pokelopes back to its owner. And if you don't, and you go rebrain, you then have to rebrain all the kids as well, which is, again, an effort. And then show the turtle to everyone. Hilarious. Great. I loved it. This was a hilarious trophy, and I actually really enjoyed it. It wasn't too hard, which I was surprised about. Very missable. One of the rarest trophies in the game. Because, yeah, especially, I was really worried about it glitching and not finding one kid, or I missed something. But I'm glad I got there in the end. But that was, yeah, one of the more funny ones. I really enjoyed that. Now, finally, obviously, we talk about the overview of this game. This game is, again, incredible. It's one of the best games I reckon I've ever played as a platformer genre. It's incredible. I recommend this to anyone. I don't know about platinuming it, though. A lot of people don't talk about it. It's got a 4.1%, which is pretty crazy. Just on PlayStation, it's higher on PSN. I'm surprised. I haven't heard of anyone actually platinuming this game. This is what's really surprising about it. I guess a lot of people did it before Psychonauts 2. But this is not an easy platinum. This has got a 3 out of 10. I think it probably should be around a 5 out of 10 in my opinion. 20 hours is pretty much spot on, and one playthrough is obviously, it has to be just one playthrough, otherwise you could play again. So it could be 2 if you stuff up, but really it's one playthrough. Probably a 5 out of 10. It could be just me being sucky, but I actually think the figments alone, and for how old the information is online to find stuff, it's ridiculous. And people are like, oh, you know, you got the Steam forums. It's like, why should I have to use a Steam forum collectible guide to look for stuff, you know? Like, it's like, that's what was annoying. And for how many collectibles this is and how big this game is, I'm surprised there's not more online on this stuff, which is really surprising. Overall, this was a very enjoyable platinum. I am going to start rating the platinums out of 10 for how good I think they are. Probably do some weird cringy tier list at the end of the year, because why not be typical, you know? But probably I would give this an 8 out of 10 in the end. Overall, as a platinum and a game itself, I think it's very much doable and very good. I'm really excited to do the second one. The game is pretty much so polished, it's not funny, and I think it looks incredible. So basically, also, I also want to talk real quick, obviously. We are doing a lot of the different types of platinum trophies at the moment. This is obviously one of them. We're doing Escapist right now. Then we're doing Psychonauts 2, then Escapist 2. Those are the main 4 at the moment. I've platinumed a few others at the moment too. I did Borderlands 2 off stream. I'll talk about that in the year. And Rivals, which I have a video coming as well, which I platinumed. That game was very fun to platinum. I'm working on GTA 4, Takaiden 2, Stardew Valley, and Escapist currently. There's a lot of games I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get through them. I'm doing a lot of them in multiplayer and stuff like that, so it's going to take some time, but I'll get there. I'll do some different types of videos as well. Now, if you are interested in trying to make me platinum whatever you want as well, a lot of these games that I'm platinuming are actually a redeem. There's a channel point redeem on my channel. It was for 50k. Thank God we moved it up. 50k for under 50 hours or under for a platinum trophy. Any trophy you want. It just can't be a horror game, because I hate horror games with passion. And then 100k is for 100 hours or more infinitely. It can be up to 500 to 600 hours. I couldn't care less. Give me the game. I'll do it. I'll give it a go. I'll put some time across for 100,000 channel points. Obviously, it doesn't cost anything. It's just whether you watch or not. Now, obviously, you would say, oh, wow, 100k, it's not too much. I've had people do multiple redeems of just the 50k, all right? I've got like 12 games lined up currently. It's ridiculous. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. There is just, like, my chat are psychos. A lot of them hoard channel points because I've got 24-hour and 48-hour redeems on there, and just all these stupid stuff, cosplay streams. So people have channel points on my channel, and they will just hoard them until the end of the earth, until they want to use them. I've got one of my viewers has over 500k channel points, is just sitting there, and has been literally teasing me with a Monster Hunter World Platinum. If I have to do that, I'll cry. But anyway, if you do want to join in and you want to see me platinum something, those redeems are coming. I do want to do my own games. I have got an infinite list of backlog. Just the dumbest backlog you'll ever see. I've got so many games I want to do. Even without my chat putting games in, I probably have nearly 30 games I want to play this year, and I want 100% all of them, and it's pain, and I need to control it. So, but we'll get there, and obviously I'll make as much content as I can. I apologize for this one being, I think, a few days late, but like I said, I'm going to try to keep that fortnightly going. I got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, but I really appreciate you guys for watching if you made it this far, and thank you all so much, seriously, for tuning in. But yeah, if you could, I don't know, like and subscribe, whatever they do over here. But yeah, otherwise, come follow me on Twitch and come see the chaos and the suffering. Peace, guys.